Hello, hello, this is Fear Dragon coming at you with another StarCraft 2 netcast. This is going to be game number 3 from the After Hours Gaming League, week number 3 between IBM and the Google Zerglingers. If you have not seen game number 1 or game number 2, please go ahead and click on the annotations below it and it'll take you to those games. But if you're still around, I'm going to assume you have, and we're going to go ahead and jump to the games and introduce the players as we spawn up here in the top right-hand corner of the player representing Team IBM and also willing to donate to the Youth Changing the World charity. It is IBM's Shusaku. And his opponent spawning up here in the top left-hand corner as the red Protoss player representing no team other than the Google Zerglingers. It is Alex. Straight and to the point. I can appreciate a name like Alex. No shenanigans, no weird stuff, no weird capitalizations. I mean, even actually has the first letter of his name capitalized. I mean, a lot of respect to Alex for that. And Shusaku, clearly from some sort of anime. I don't know what anime, probably one involving a lot of ninjas, but it's probably a pretty awesome anime, and I would definitely watch it 7 days a week. But with that being said, guys, a lot going to be riding on the feet, the back, the arms, and the legs of Alex over here from Team Google Zerglingers. Oh my god, Googlingers. That is a totally different name. But I mean, it is game number 3, and they are already down 0-2 right now. So that means that they have to literally win every single game for the rest of the series if they want to come back into this. Shusaku has a little bit more leeway. He's going to actually be playing it out pretty standard. I mean, hatchery first. It can be a little bit greedy, but I like the fact that Shusaku is just saying, well, I'll just send the drone around. The reason why it could be greedy is because if your opponent goes for a Forge Fast expansion, they plant down the Forge down over here on the low ground and then throw up a Nexus. That Forge is going to be great for building cannons, including behind your opponent's mineral line. So you plant down, you know, a pylon here, maybe a pylon here, and then plant down a cannon right here, and boom! You have a cannon that actually can barely be attacked by any of the drones. So it just kills off the hatchery. There's not a whole lot that you can do about it at that point, once the wall is actually completed. So Shusaku just saying, well, you know what? I'm just going to send the drone down there early on. See? Okay, no cannon shenanigans going on. Well, I can go ahead and just take my third expansion as well now. Even actually has an Overlord that was scouting down over there to that bottom right-hand corner, but looks like the Overlord has spotted the correct location now. He's going to go ahead and see. Okay, well, it's a gateway expand. Don't have to worry too much about any kind of early aggression from cannons, and that spawning pool is also going to be going up. And I want to note, actually, that this was a 3 hatch before pool. So really, Shusaku playing a little bit greedy now. This is something that will really allow him to boost that economy. This is literally the best economic opening you could go for. You could potentially throw down a 4th hatchery before you get your spawning pool up, but honestly, you want that spawning pool done so that you can start producing your queens and getting those larva injections. So this is literally the best opening that Shusaku could have asked for. In the meanwhile, Alex going to still be going for that gateway expansion, and this isn't necessarily the end-all be-all. Alex is now just behind. Alex still has an opportunity, because by going for the gateway expansion, Alex has actually enabled himself to be aggressive just a little bit earlier. So he can actually punish and potentially take out that 3rd expansion from Shusaku. We'll have to wait and see if that's going to be the case. I mean, we saw in the last game with Zexy versus Zai that Zexy was able to take out that 3rd expansion, but wasn't quite able to close out the game, because even though he took out the 3rd expansion, he just wasn't quite prepared for the Mutal's tech switch and was just out of position to deal with it. This time, we're not going to be seeing that not nearly as much, because Alex is just saying, well, you know what? Not going to let Mutals haunt me in this game. So he goes for the Stargate. The Stargate's going to allow him to get out the Phoenix. Phoenixes, while well microed, and actually in large numbers, don't even need to be microed that much, but they handle Mutals pretty gosh darn well. So, gonna be looking to see maybe some Phoenix come out and also be able to pick out some of these Overlords. You kind of secure that map vision, you shut down your opponent's vision of the map and what you could be potentially up to. But it looks like that Stargate was actually spotted, as long as we ended up seeing Shusaku actually click on that building. Sometimes you can just mistake it and say, well, it's a part of the wall, and why would he make a gateway a part of the wall? But now we end up seeing the Zerglingers pops in over here with its head and sees, okay, that is in fact a Stargate. So we're probably going to be seeing some Spore Callers being thrown down at each one of these bases. I mean, that's just pretty standard play to go for. for now, he does have a little bit of time before, looks like actually an Oracle is going to pop out, which is a really, really interesting decision. That does allow him to maybe get a lot more damage done, if he's lucky. But if there are any Spore Crawlers up, it's going to be way more difficult to actually get that kind of guaranteed damage done. But now we end up seeing the Zerglings starting to come in over here. The Zealot was actually not entirely in position. Zealot's going to get taken out, but the Stalker is also in actually a pretty good position to deal with these Zerglings, so he does manage to hold. In the meanwhile, the Oracle going to be making its way across the map. Warp Gate and Zergling Speed have both finished up now. So, I mean, both these players are going to have pretty formidable ground armies very soon. The Phoenix looking for any kind of potential Overlord kills that it can find. It did actually miss the Overlord that was just behind the natural expansion. Oh! Zergling's trying to dart back in over there, not quite able to get in. It looks like this Oracle looking for a good location to attack into, but the Spore Crawlers have been finishing up or already finished up over the natural expansion in the main base and at the third. So this Oracle's going to have a hard time, but oh, he finds a little bit of an opening. Snags off all those drones, and the gas guys are goodbye drones, goodbye gas being mined, and Oracle's gonna have to be a little bit careful though, because it only has 10 health. Oh, a Queen from the national expansion. A little bit of juking and jiving going on from this Oracle. I mean, he is clearly from the 70s. Not only can he dance as a disco ball, but he can juke and jive like no other. And, you know, that Queen goes up to the main base, hoping to snag it, but ends up leaving that natural expansion a little bit exposed. Not entirely exploited, but still, Oracle gets out safely, so no complaints over there. In the meanwhile, we have more and more Phoenix being produced. We're already up to 2 Phoenix, seeing a 3rd Phoenix being produced. Honestly, I like to see Protoss players either stop at 2 Phoenix or go hard committing into a lot of Phoenix. But it looks like we're going to be seeing a Robotics Bay being thrown down for Alex, as well as a Forge. So I would actually just like to see him stop at 3 Phoenix. 3 Phoenix is enough to do things like pick off Queens if he has the opportunity to, and the Queens are kind of away from that Spore Crawler. 3 Phoenix is also enough to kind of easily keep an eye out around the map. You can kind of dart them around. Yeah, you can end up losing maybe 1 Phoenix or something because you miss micro, and you're still okay because you still have 2 Phoenix around. They can still do a little bit of annoying harassment, taking out Zerglings at the Zerglingers Watchtower, etc. So I think 3 Phoenix is a really good place, and that is in fact where he's going to stop while he gets up that Robotics Bay, gets up a couple of Immortals, and looking like he wants to make a big 2-base timing push, because, I mean, it's 10 minutes, 30 seconds. It's going to be a little bit difficult very soon to try and take a 3rd expansion, because the Zerg just makes it so difficult after, like, say, 11 or 12 minute mark to take a 3rd expansion. We're actually going to be seeing Void Rays popping out from the Stargate. Oh, yeah, this is definitely looking like a big 2-base push, and we'll have to see, is Shusaku's going to be prepared for it? This is what these Phoenix are amazing at, as one of the Phoenix does go down, but they are just killing off Overlord after Overlord, just being so annoying. Shusaku gonna be going after those Phoenix. The Phoenix are gonna try and micro away. Do they manage to snag one of the Overlords? They do manage to snag one last Overlord before they do have to retreat, and Shusaku gonna be falling a little bit behind on that Overlord count, but 5 more on the way. He's gonna be just fine. +1/+1, finishing up. Look at that beautiful timing on those upgrades, finishing up at the same time, and he's going to start darting in over here. The Roaches are starting to prepare and build up en masse. So are the Zerglings, actually. We do have a handful of the Zerglings still left around from the earlier stages of the game, but Void Rays, Immortals, Stalkers, Zealots, all looking very, very strong, but with no upgrades, not going to be able to do as much damage. Shusaku definitely leading in that respect, but no answer to the Void Ray. Going to have to back up, as well as, I mean, that Immortal just dishing out the damage against those armored Roaches. But still, I have to say that Shusaku is still looking to be in a very strong position. I mean, a very solid 3-base economy, 74 drones, could easily take a 4th expansion pretty much anytime that Shusaku really wants to. And all he has to do is defend against the big push that is bound to be incoming from Alex. Now, I do want to note that Alex doesn't have any sentries in the army, and I believe that there was 1 or 2 sentries in the army before, but that did get taken out by those Roaches in that last little skirmish, I should say. And that's going to be a little bit painful, because if those Roaches are able to get right on top of that army, including right on top of the Colossus, I mean, those Colossus, they want to stay really far back away from the Roaches and the Zerglings. And actually, Mutals even now out, and that is going to be so annoying, as now we end up seeing there is 1 Phoenix and a Phoenix well microed. You can see over here, you can actually take out an infinite number of Mutals technically, but that is going to be really difficult to micro. But I have got to hand it to Alex. He's doing a great job with it. Wow, even snags another one of those mules. But now we might be seeing that big engagement. Zell is basically going to be acting like the impromptu force fields in this engagement. Might have to resort to that wall in as the next set of force fields. But now we end up seeing the Mutals have pretty much all been cleaned up. The Colossus reigning supreme from behind that wall, and the Roach is not able to do a whole lot of damage behind all this. But I love that Shusaku is grabbing that 4th expansion while this engagement is going down. It's a very safe 4th expansion to take because he knows exactly where Alex's army is. It is dealing with a giant number of Roaches that were busting at the front. So even though he loses a lot of those Roaches, he does manage to at least secure a 4th expansion. It may actually even be able to deny this 3rd expansion. He's going to have to be careful though, because it looks like this Colossus going back in over there. The Roach is unable to deny the 3rd. And do lose quite a few of their numbers, as well as a lot of their strength and power. But we have more and more Mutals coming out. +1 flyer attacks finishing up for Shusaku. He still may be able to defend this as the Oracle tries to take out a almost full health hatchery. I don't think I've ever seen this happen. I don't know who wins that. But now in this end of the map, we should say that there is a large number of Roaches trying to barrel through down this Protoss army, and it looks like with all the Zells being cleaned up, the Voiders are going to be reigning supreme from above, but the Colossus are going to be so vulnerable. They have got to get out of there, although they're doing a great job with that splash damage. The Zerglingers going to come in from behind, though, and they are just going to massacre that Colossus, getting revenge for all their fallen brethren. The 2 Void Rays reigning supreme from above, still 12 kills on one, 7 kills on the other, and just going to continue to build up as there is absolutely no anti-air over there. But still, I mean, these Void Rays are kind of, they just can't do DPS fast enough. They can eventually kill off literally this entire army with 0 problems. But will they be able to do it before the 3rd expansion goes down? It does not look like it. The Mutals also going to be coming in over here. The Voider is coming back home to actually defend against the Mutals. Not exactly something that you see every day. Protoss players wanting to fight their opponents' Mutals with their Void Rays. But it ends up working out pretty well over there. A single Swarmos in the mix. This guy is completely lost. Maybe he was the hero unit of the game, but it looks like it may very well be working. These Voiders still being very, very cost effective, but there's just so many Zerglings. It just takes so long to actually kill them, and with all of the ground army completely cleaned up, the Stargate going to be falling. The Zerglings are going to be able to focus fire down that natural expansion. The 3rd expansion was cleaned up by that Oracle, amazingly enough. But the natural expansion, if that does end up falling, that is severely going to cut into Alex's economy. I mean, at least Shusaku is going to have a mining base. This base is hardly mining at all. It doesn't even have any guys actually in those gas geysers. And now even the Void Rays are getting taken out, and GG does get called, as it looks like Shusaku gonna take game number 3 for Team IBM, winning them the series. So congratulations to Team IBM for winning their Week 3 series, and I mean, I have to hand it to Team Google Zerglingers. They played really well, even though it was a 3-0 sweep. Those were some really awesome games from both sides. So really well done by the Google Zerglingers. And yeah, good games all around. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Fear Dragon. If you want to please follow me on the channel, you can go ahead and do that over at youtube.com/feardragon64. That's probably where you're watching these videos anyways. But I would highly appreciate the follow if you guys do enjoy my commentary. I also do a bunch of other events. I also do a show about North American StarCraft 2 players that are up and coming in the pro gaming scene, and that's called Breaking Out. But regardless, I think that is pretty much it. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Stay tuned for more After Hours Gaming League action, and I will see you all next time.